Now, if David Cameron's week all goes to plan, it should end up with a meeting here in these inconspicuous Georgian buildings. This is Downing Street, and on Friday, if he gets a deal, he'll be holding a cabinet, and that will mark the official start of the referendum campaign. After that, ministers will be free to campaign for Brexit if they so wish. But of course, to get there, the Prime Minister first of all has to get a deal from Europe. Nina Schick is from a think tank sympathetic to the Prime Minister and thinks he will manage to overcome the hurdles to a deal.
Well, I think on the issue of economic governance, which is one of Cameron's basket, which is about ensuring that non-Eurozone countries cannot be discriminated against by the Eurozone countries, a mechanism for how that's going to work has not yet been decided. And I think certain Eurozone countries are afraid that the UK might be given too much and have effectively what counters as a veto on Eurozone issues. And I think the details of how that mechanism is going to work might be a stumbling block in the talks.
Now, just a few hundred metres from where David Cameron will be holding his cabinet meeting on Friday afternoon, another big European meeting will be happening at much the same time. Grassroots Out, a pro-Brexit campaign, will be having a rally here at the QE2 Centre in Westminster. And what they and other Eurosceptics will argue is that the deal David Cameron will bring back from Europe will be incomplete because a big chunk of it will need the approval of the European Parliament, something it won't get until after any referendum.
Hi Martin.
Morning, David.
Hi, morning. Good to see you. All well?
Technical problems.
Good. Yes, sorry.
The President of the European Parliament, meeting the Prime Minister here, wasn't very helpful today.
I encourage British people to vote on the basis of the outcome of Thursday, to vote yes. Then we start a legislative procedure, which will clarify and help to solve the problems addressed by the frame, which will be accepted on Thursday. I hope accepted on Thursday.
Well, there are still certain things that need to pass through the European Parliament, and most notably is the emergency brake on migrants' access to in-work welfare. However, certain things come into effect immediately afterwards, and those are not insignificant. This includes, of course, the red cards for national parliaments to block EU legislation where it's unwanted, and of course also the understanding that the UK is not bound to ever closer union, so it's the first time it has an opt-out out of this.
So for a lot of potential Leave voters, migration is a huge issue, and they would obviously be a bit unnerved if the European Parliament were to unpick the migration parts of this package. So do we think it's likely that MEPs might do that?
I think the President of the European Parliament has said that, first of all, it's going to be a speedy process, one that will be studied very carefully. But I think if the other 27 countries have agreed through their heads of government to the package, I think it's highly likely that the European Parliament will consider that as a good signal.
But the European Parliament could well fiddle with the deal and perhaps water it down. That's what Eurosceptics fear.